Hello!
Welcome back to
Let's Play Resident Evil Code Veronica! We need to...
do a
do
thing.
stuff.
Yeah.
Do stuff.
We need to feed your anger.
Yes.
Hmm.
Ah, this is the cutscene I wanted to see earlier. Terrible shot.
Redfield! How dare you interfere with my operation?
What are you talking about?
You let yourself be captured so you could lead your people to this base!
I have no idea what you're babbling about.
You don't fool me! I am Alfred Ashford, commander of this base.
Oh? You must be one of Umbrella's lower level officers if you're in command of a backwater base like this one.
Fucking
How
bird.
dare you! The Ashford family is among the world's first and finest. My grandfather is one of the original founders of Umbrella, Inc. Now tell me, why have you attacked this installation?
Attacked?
Shortly after you arrived, my base was attacked. You must have informed your people of its location.
I still don't follow you. I really don't know anything about that.
Unacceptable! How can you deny it? My base has been destroyed. And thanks to you, the experimental T-virus was released, creating countless zombies and monsters. Tell me, who do you work for? Who sent you? Have it your way, then. You're just a rat in a cage anyway. I'll be sure to keep you entertained before I dispose of you.
That's Alfred, one of the good new additions to this game.
Yeah.
He's a wonderful character. He's, not a good guy, obviously, but he's wonderful. He's one of the
The best is yet to come. He has an even better laugh later.
Oh, he's got.
Yes.
I think his best scenes are all later, kind of, to be honest. Save this. There. That. Quick save. Okay. So let's go take a boat ride. That's the only thing I can remember to do right now.
The boat.
The boat. Well, it's kind of a boat. Well, I should say more like we're gonna go prep the boat and then not get on it, but
Yeah. We will get on the boat later.
Because this game likes its backtracking.
Yup.
Yes. You have no idea.
Do the best to get to come. Slap that on there and not bother turning it right now because we don't have any of the items we need for that in that area later. But for those who are curious or want to explore, you spin that, a submarine comes up and it takes you to elsewhere. Another part of the area. So, curious, you can go check it out. There's probably some resources there, but we'll be alright. And you don't need to go there for the plot yet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what was there. I don't feel like you got much out of it at this point.
Oh,
Oh
Ernie.
no, there's not much of a good reason to go there until later.
Happy little herb.
Happy little herb. Actually, use this happy little herb.
Yes. And now you're fine.
Right, I am.
I don't know what that like clinking is that you hear when you're in that area.
I think it's supposed to be the bugs around the lights hitting the light,
Hmm.
but it, I don't know. Alright, bye.
Really?
Off the
Asshole.
bridge you go then, bye.
Fucking for
Aw.
real? Ugh.
Jerk. That was close.
Wait, what? Oh, I forgot about the...
Fine. It's okay.
So we have some goodies to collect here.
Yeah.
First of which we want to get out of here is we're gonna get the weapon we're gonna use in place of the handgun in long spurts. Much like Resident Evil's past, for some reason, poor Claire is neglected a shotgun. And is instead
Yeah.
given a much inferior weapon in its place. And in paying attention to the ammo I've been picking up, it's not really much of a secret.
Yeah, it's the same weapon we complained about in Resident Evil 2.
And it's moderate. It's slightly better than in Resident Evil 2, at least. It is actually useful, unlike RE2.
Yeah.
There's even a thing you can get that can actually make it really good, but you get a very limited amount of that.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? It's upstairs. Dumb. Yeah, there's something that can make it good, and I'm not quite sure what to save it for here, but... Actually, you know what? I think I do have a good idea what to save it for. Hello. That's what I wanted. It's probably knob. Oh, wait. Oh, you know what? There's one thing in the submarine, but... we'll just grab it next time we roll over there for something. You alright? That does remind me of a certain complaint I wanted to throw out there.
Mhm.
The inventory is disgustingly limited for how often this game wants you to carry a bunch of stuff.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it?
You really. There's not enough space at all.
Yeah.
I do remember a particular point late in the game where you basically couldn't carry any healing items
Yep.
for a short time.
Remember on the pass number. The emergency door lock system in the biology experiment room can be released with the 4-digit pass number. I hope you haven't forgotten about that already. I've just
I
received
forgot.
received an order from the system administrator requesting us to change the pass number periodically. What bothers me is that you often lose important memos, pass numbers, or even chemicals. So, in an attempt to solve that problem, I came up with an idea. You know the red skeleton picture at the back of the biology experiment room? I decided to use the number sign on that picture as the pass number. If you happen to lose the memo, just look at the picture. Well, I don't think you would even need to use the emergency pass number anyhow. Just in case, now you know. Take it easy, Mr. Careless. You saying something?
1, 2, 3, 4.
I don't even think that's very far off, to be honest. You were saying something when we walked in the room, Aura?
Oh, I was just asking if it's more limited than previous games or if it's on par with how many items you can.
I don't recall offhand, but I think at the start of the game, it's comparable to Chris in the first game.
Okay. Oh, he did.
Oh, he did. Oh,
That's
you...
just ketchup.
Yeah, no, it's ketchup.
That's just ketchup. It's fine. Also wondering if that number changes on that picture per playthrough.
I wonder about that too, actually. Not really sure, but it's
Biohazard
possible.
contamination detected. Level
I don't think things change in this game, unlike 3.
shutters will close. All personnel
Go, Claire, go!
That was close.
It's a good thing I'm a main character, or that could have hurt me.
Be a shame if I were a secondary character.
I'd be dead.
RE2 remake. So yeah, the bowgun sucks. I mean,
Yeah.
look at that.
But you have to use it.
It's
Because they...
a really good zombie killer. Not because it's effective, but because you get a ton of bullets for it, and it lets you save handgun ammo. So it's not an efficient zombie killer, but
It's what you got.
it's what you got. Yeah. You can also load an
Big-
absurd amount of bullets into it.
The big thing with it is that it's not it's not like, considering how tanky these zombies sometimes just are anyway, it doesn't seem terrible. But you need to have a significant amount of distance between you and the zombies because they don't stun or get like pushed
Yeah.
back at
Yeah.
all from the bolts.
You have to hit them enough so that they fall down.
Which is usually when they've actually died.
Yeah.
And the zombies sometimes just run at you,
Oh, kitty.
which is a thing. But I can at least safely say that it's totally okay to just kill zombies with this thing, because you're not going to use it for bosses or anything of the sort. It's a pitiful weapon for anything except slow, stupid zombies. I wouldn't even use it on dogs.
Yeah, they're a little too quick.
Yeah.
But they give you a ton of bolts for it, so I feel like that might have been the intention, is just waste them all on, like, zombies.
Trash enemies,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't even have any specific ones I'd recommend using it on. Just, if there's a zombie that's in an area and it's annoying the shit out of you, put it down, I guess.
Time to do it manually.
Yeah.
Makes me wonder why they even bothered putting the button here. Anyways.
Yeah, if
It's a
the
it's a mess
valve
with
is
you.
just over there.
Gentlemen. Something in here. Nope.
They are very sad.
They were just kind of walking into the wall. So, this is the first time in the series where I feel like the tank controls are a significant hindrance to my enjoyment, not just kind of a hindrance. Resident Evil 3 was like, there were moments where I was like, this probably could have been done better without them, but I think the game at large is good. This is like, not that. Where the game at large could be good, but it's held back by a lot of things, including tank controls. This is one of those
Oh yeah. Go ahead first.
I was just gonna say, this is one of those, the first time in the series where I think maybe everyone should have realized, like, tank controls might just be limiting for this series going forward, and spare a couple of examples where they did it well. That pretty much held true with how the future games were designed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I talked about this at some point during practice. Like, it hit me suddenly. I was like, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, this is like, they're not just like doing fixed. It's not quite the same as the past games. It's like the completely fixed camera angles that stay largely in place with just like pre-rendered like image backgrounds. It's like everything is You have like 3D objects, and the camera just follows you along, and it's like you didn't really need tank controls as much in this situation.
It's a weird thing where like they have these angles, but they also like you call it like pan as you transition instead of fuck.
Oh, no.
This is the goofiest shit. Instead of just a bunch of like screens that transition statically. Which is great, except for when it's not, which is a lot. There's a lot of moments where, like the screen just pans, and a good example is the palace front yard right here, where there are dogs. In the practice playthrough, I didn't kill them, and then eventually I came down here later and killed them. But there were only 2, so I thought I was good and didn't realize there's a 3rd one. And because of the way the screen pans like this, right when I turned around the corner, the dog jumped and just nabbed me.
Yeah.
And that's bad. I don't know what to say besides that's bad. That's just not good.
Yeah.
It's a big problem when enemies are able to get such a significant jump on you when they take so much to kill and can do so much damage to you. And half of the time you need to avoid them anyways. And I'm not going to bring up any more specific examples yet, but when we see them, there are some that are particularly egregious, I think. So there's a side pack in here, which carry more items. Very helpful, but you don't necessarily need it right away. It gives you 2 more slots, which still isn't enough, but...
Yeah, I was just thinking, oh damn, yeah, you did get that, because you had those 2 extra slots, and you still had the thing really late in the game where you had no space for any healing items for a little bit.
Yeah. So this takes you to the airport, which is underground for reasons. And also through an underwater passage for reasons.
They built it into like the side of the cliffs and shit because they didn't want to just have aesthetically they didn't want to have an airport on the island, I guess. I don't know.
Yes, the aesthetics of my prison island. Oh fuck. No!
Also a lot hard.
No.
A lot harder to escape if you have to go through all this bullshit to get to any kind of airplane.
Let's just walk back here. Oh fuck, I forgot about the 3rd guy. Oh yeah, I forgot to explain it. Give me a second. I'll explain the bow gun powder in a second. I want to take care of these gentlemen. Not gonna use it yet, but I will tell you what it does. Fucking fall, bitch. So if you combine this with some bowgun darts, you'll get explosive bowgun darts. I only remember finding 40 of those pieces of powder through the entire game. So I wouldn't recommend using it lightly, but it is helpful if you need to make some sudden kills. Like, there's those, like if a bunch of zombies show up and you have a bunch of bowgun powder on you, use it. Kill them if you think you're gonna die, because that's what it's there for. It's also pretty helpful against.
Some people actually save them for a couple specific like boss type stuff.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
Stuff.
I was thinking about certain set piece a little later that I would use it for actually. Which is totally reasonable. So, as you see, there's 3 divots in there. Looks a lot like the navy proof we have, but we only have 1 proof, so we don't need to do much there.
You stay away.
So one of the other problems I've kind of sat on and thought about in this game is I feel like a lot of the weapons don't feel good to use. I think the only weapon I found myself actively enjoying was the one that we got after the second half of the game. We had to, I don't really want to name drop it, but we had to leave it on a hook and come back for it later. And that was like the only gun in the entire game that I ended up enjoying using. And even then, it wasn't that great. I was
gonna say you still liked other iterations of it in other games better.
It was a gun that I enjoyed much better in pretty much every other game in this series that it's in. And I kind of feel that way about the only gun that's like an improvement in this game over its other appearance is like the bow gun. The bow gun is technically an improvement in that it's worth using at all, but not because I like the bow gun, but because there's not enough handgun ammo.
Yeah.
That bowgun powder makes it a pretty sick weapon, but you get a very limited amount of that.
Yeah, it's not enough to consider it like a consistent, reliable weapon. I would treat it like you would treat like the Magnum, where you save it for maybe a particular fight or a particular couple of fights and don't touch it beyond that, because you'll make your life a little bit easier. And the handguns, just because the enemies are so beefy, they feel so, I don't know, it's just kind of like, I don't know, you want to call it like plinky? Like I'm just plinking them with like a pea shooter. The handgun was never the strongest weapon, but in all the other games, it feels very reliable. And it's technically the case here in that it's always in my inventory, but that's more because I don't want to use the other weapons more than it is that I don't, or that I want to use the handgun.
Use the handgun as a go-to.
Yeah.
I mean,
there is
no zombies on a platform.
Whatever will we do?
Come back here.
Claire's gonna auto-aim the wrong fucking way. I hate auto-aim, dude. Like the worst part of these classic games is like, it's trying to
Is there a
aim
way
for
to
you.
turn it off?
No, it's the only way to aim. Period in the old games.
Oh.
Yeah, even in Resident Evil 2.
It was kind of annoying there. It didn't become like an active problem to me sometimes until like 3.
Yeah.
In this game, where they throw a lot of enemies at you, and you're gonna end up aiming like to your hard left when you got a dude approaching you from the front. And in 2, where there's a boss fight that just kind of doesn't work that way. The acid fight.
In 3, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
So this is the only things we need in here for now. I'm not coming back here for a long time. And I want the bow gun for that encounter we just had with the zombies. Because handguns, you don't want to use the handgun on that, you'll run out of ammo.
You know, I think the Magnum comparison was interesting because it's like, you pointed out during practice how much longer this game is compared to the other, like, classic style Resident Evils.
Yep.
And so it's like, you kind of have, and you think too about how late in the game you even can get the Magnum, if you actually are able to, since there's a way you can get screwed out of that, but that's for later. But, it's like the bowgun powder is like your Magnum for the first half of the game, and then you have the actual Magnum for the end of the game.
It is actually super weird, because you do get the Magnum very, very late. Thinking back on it, there's really only one place that'd even be worth using at that point. Which, to be fair, is on par, because usually it's saved for the final boss in these games anyways. The Tyrant, Mr. X / Birkin, if you're going to use it on Nemi. So that does kind of add up, but it is just weird that they wait so long, and I think it's the only one out of the classic games where you can outright just be completely screwed out of getting it entirely by your own action.
Or lack of foresight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even want to call it proper foresight, because that kind of implies that there's like a logical deduction you could make as to what you would need for that. And there isn't. When you realize what you need, you're just kind of like, well, that's fucking stupid. How am I supposed to predict that? We'll get to it, though. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, here's the first little bit of pretty annoying backtracking we have to do. This card is going to get used in the building where we got the bowgun.
Yeah.
Yay.
Which means we get to walk back across that stone pillar with the zombies on it, run past the dogs, and back into the lab. Not as bad as it gets later in the game, don't you worry, but
this is setting a trend.
yeah, for sure.
Yep.
I guess looking at
Be
it,
right back.
I guess it looks like more enemies don't respawn than there are the ones that do, but it's just confusing that there are the ones that do.
Yeah. So the dogs have been replaced by something much easier to avoid. A big-ass worm. Don't bother firing at it, don't bother shooting it. As far as I know, it'll come back if you even try. It's not hard to avoid it, as I immediately get fucking grabbed by it. That's cool. So just run inside. Oh, we're about to be introduced to Hell.
Yay.
I remember what's coming up here. So, I'll just prompt it with a non-exact little explanation. There's one single enemy in this game that somehow manages to be worse than pretty much hunters in any of these games. It is maybe one of the single worst designed enemies in this series. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. It is the single worst poorly designed enemy in this series.
It accounts for at least half of what makes us angry about this entire game.
For sure.
Yes.
Oh, fuck.
Alfred, stop it.
Good dodging.
Thank you. Forgot to save before I walked out of there.
And he's gone.
Just to note it, you're gonna need something for a puzzle here later. There's a save room in here. I would highly advise stopping here and if you're not healed, use a healing item. I would save your game if you're not using save states. I would grab a weapon of choice. Whatever your weapon of choice may be. I would not advise the bowgun, because it's not going to do shit. Keep that, we'll keep that, we'll heal up with that. Quick save. Let's hope that's enough. Actually, do I have enough herbs to heal to find?
I think you have another red herb in there. Yep.
Okay, well, if we get hurt, we'll, it's the red in here. So yeah, make no mistake, what's coming up is annoying. And if you go in unprepared, you're gonna be miserable. Also, make sure you pick up the hemostatic medicine in the safe room.
Welcome, Claire. Consider the area you are in a special playground I have prepared just for you. Please try and keep me amused, and do not disappoint me by dying too soon. I so want to enjoy this.
So good.
So a little note to make is that there was a mouse in that cutscene that ran underneath the door. That mouse is kind of a recurring character. He pops up from time to time throughout the game. Which, yes, I learned about by reading some stuff about it. I don't know if character is the right word. Maybe it's just like a little Easter egg. But that mouse shows up from time to time, is the point. You gotta be kind of looking, because you'll miss him if you don't. But, you know. It's there. Hey, look. Machine guns.
Ooh.
An unloaded submachine gun. Cool.
Wonder what that's for.
Hey, there's a submachine gun ammo down there. Cool. Time to go.
This is obviously
This
not
is
a
not
trap.
suspicious at all.
This is the Bandersnatch. The single worst enemy in this game.
Yes.
I gotta
And
focus,
that's
so
why.
yeah. If someone wants to go on an explanation about this for me, I would be greatly appreciative.
I mean, the basic gist of it is that he has a big stretchy arm that can hit you from off-screen, from across basically any room, and there's almost jack all you can do to avoid it. So
Yep.
have fun with that.
Yeah.
And if you try running up the stairs, he will use his stretchy arm to go back up and break your day.
Yes.
Ugh.
They're beefy as well.
Yeah. Yeah, they're just, you can't avoid them. Okay.
Yeah, they're.
And if you thought that was the only one we were gonna see, like it's a mini boss, I have bad news for you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'll just go ahead and throw that one out there. They litter this fucking place.
Yeah.
From this point on, they litter this fucking place. And I guess tapping into a little bit of a thing I hate, they place them fucking like the most aggressively annoying locations possible. Not just once or twice, but almost every time they're in an area.
Mm-hmm.
They are placed in the most annoying spots possible.
This is also an actual attack they can do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Too bad we can't attack them like this. Man, if we try to do this shit, they just like smack you in the face and call it a day.
Like, oh, that's funny.
Oh yeah, that felt good.
Oh yeah.
Don't
Oh
worry,
yeah.
your knight in shining armor is here.
You wish. But thanks for the help.
See? This is why you need me. I got your back.
Whatever. Here, take these.
Machine guns? For me?
You know the deal, in exchange for your Lugers.
Okay, okay. This thing is too cool. Yes! Now this is my kind of weapon. All right. Huh?
He's definitely got that late 90s Sonic Adventure style tude.
Uh-huh.
He feels like a very Sonic Adventure
Up there,
character.
Plenty of ammo.
Yeah.
Way up there?
Give me a boost and I'll get it for you.
All right, all right. Ow! My back. You're heavier than you look.
Ow!
Hurry up.
My back!
Happy now?
What?
Now that your knight has made his appearance, he can join you in your descent into death.
Your descent into death.
Okay, let's do it. Wait here, Claire.
Yeah!
Yeah, let's do it! That's
Yeah.
literally a Sonic line!
Yes, it is.
Yeah, let's do it!
Do it.
Come on, step it up!
I can't unhear it now.
He actually is a Sonic character. I can't
Oh,
believe
yeah, I
we missed
forgot
it
this
during
was
the
a-
practice.
Oh yeah.
Steve's segment.
It's really not that hard. You have limited ammo, but it's not quite like Carlos's segment where you need to worry about saving it for later, because he never plays him again, from what I recall. He plays him just one time. So, weapon's hot.
Yeah. It's the only time in the game where you can just go weapons hot.
To this aggressiveness, for sure.
Nice change of pace.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Now I want to hear Steve's lines read by, like, Ryan Drummond or something.
This is too cool.
Blast off at Sonic speed! I would pretty much advise killing all the zombies, just make your life easier as Claire when it matters. I don't know if they, like, just despawn if you don't, but I'm gonna play it safe. That's it! 2 rooms!
It was dirty work, but this area is now clean.
It was dirty work, but this area is now clean.
You can depend on me. You see? This thing is a lot more reliable than any person.
Than people? Steve, what were you doing here? Who brought you here, and where is your family?
Shut up! I don't want to talk about it.
I'm going to my room!
Yeah.
Nobody gets me here!
Steve,
Why are you wasting your bullets?
Let's get going.
'Cause I'm mad.
You don't get me, Claire!
nobody does. No one
Nobody understands me!
Yeah.
It's actually just that one thing that is the main thing that I take issue with is like, really? He fires his gun because he's upset?
Yeah, he shows a lot of lack of, like, gun safety and the idea of conserving his ammo, and I don't know. The rest of it's, like, typical 90s cheese that I kind of relish in anyways.
Mm-hmm.
But him firing his gun is, like, actually dumb. Uh-oh.
Claire,
I like how they loop through the same grunt.
Yes.
Steve, behind you!
I think this is still, like, the crowning example of a potentially emotional scene completely fucking slaughtered by this game's, like, voice direction.
Yeah.
Steve, shoot him!
Like, this is something that, given the remake treatment, could probably be like, a really, just like, shit, this is...
Yeah, a genuinely, like, emotional, like, oh shit moment. The kind of thing we've never really seen in this series, in terms of, like, the actual... Up to this point, at least, the kind of thing we've never really seen of, like, a... Hang on.
Father!
But that ruins it! We don't see a lot of whole look at, like, this potential outcome to a situation displayed in any kind of dramatic way, and this attempt at it is laughable.
Mm-hmm.
Steve.
Face.
Father. 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 Dad used to work for Umbrella. Tried to steal information, intending to sell it off to the highest bidder. He was caught. Mom was killed. We were sent here.
Oh, Steve.
He was a fool to do something so reckless. So stupid.
I gotta be kind of honest. The poor voice acting kind of works in this scene just because it comes off like he's so like emotionally distraught that he's just like dissociated from the situation for now.
Mm-hmm.
Like he just
Yeah.
totally detached from what's going on. Which is not what they were going for, I'm sure. But
No, it's just old Resident Evil with its like voice acting.
Probably should leave him alone, yeah.
Steve is suffering.
Steve is suffering.
I think maybe the biggest flaw with the execution is that like they wanted to only hint at it for a second and then reveal that it's his father, but in doing it that way, it's like the way he yells father as he's shooting him is just like really cheesy and you can't really take it that seriously.
I don't think there's any turn of events where he could have screamed it and it would have worked out. I think it should have been the kind of thing where he says it to himself. Like if I were directing that, it would be more like he just maybe
He
not,
says it
yeah.
before he starts opening fire.
Yeah. Like it waits
Something,
for a
maybe.
minute, maybe he's in like silent disbelief or, you know, denial. And then he, you know, he says it loud enough that Claire can overhear it, but not shouting it, and then he opens fire.
Just like not like a sustained yell, like a pained father and then fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would totally advise killing those dogs, by the way. They fucking annoy the shit out of me here. You have to? No. Okay, backtracking time.
Yay.
Yeah, I appreciate the attempt because like you pointed out how like it's a plot point that they hadn't really addressed anything like that in this way up to this point, and it was a good idea that it didn't quite execute well.
Nah, it didn't. I don't think they've really addressed anything like that kind of plot point any point after that either. There's not really been any. There's been very few explorations of like actual interpersonal relationships being damaged by the zombies, which I guess is okay because that's kind of a standard zombie trope anyways, but you know, it is kind of just a surprise that the series never touched on that at all. No,
I mean, 7?
no, not really. Honestly, not that much.
Well, but the whole point of 7, like, you know...
Well,
you-
I guess it's just hard to touch on interpersonal relationships being wrecked when the entire interpersonal relationship of a family in question is infected. And the concept of like the dude looking for his wife and her ending up being infected isn't really brought up because she's off screen for like 80% of the game.
well, true.
And even if you want to get more deep into it, like the one member of the family who isn't,
I don't know if we want to say too much because you're gonna LP it later.
it'll be
Yeah.
like years before then. We're nowhere near 7.
Yeah, like, realistic, like, yeah, whoa.
I mean, we're taking a break from RE games after we get everything pre-5 done anyways.
Yeah.
Anyway, bring your ass down here. All the way back to where you started.
Yay.
Because if you remember the cutscene at the beginning, dude in here chucked a white bottle, like the one we picked up, of hemostatic medicine.
What are you doing here?
So we're gonna help.
Hemostatic medicine. How kind of you. Thanks.
Here, let me help you with that.
Thanks, but I can take care of myself. Just go.
Keep it. It was a gift from my brother, but
Thanks. Here, let me give you this in return. You might need it later on. Now go. Don't worry about me.
We trade our
Yay.
lighter for a lockpick. Good trade if you ask me.
Yes.
That's where we're gonna end the
By
episode.
the way,
Oh, you can say that
yeah,
first.
I was just gonna say I don't know if and I don't know if we've done that here or not, but it is possible to give this lighter away before something you might need it for. I don't know if that's optional. It might be like an optional thing, but if you need a lighter after this point, apparently you're supposed to be able to get a lighter by like killing the worm. So
Mm.
Okay, well, we'll tackle that problem eventually. See everybody for next time when these set of guns have a date with a door.
Ooh.
Ooh.